Good morning. Today we're going to begin reading The Wheel on the School by Meindert DeJong, pictures by Maurice Sendak. Copyright 1954. The dedication is to my nieces, Shirley and Beverly, and their flying fingers. This is a first edition. I love this book so much that I bought the first edition of it. And as you saw from the cover, it won the Newbery Medal. The Wheel on the School, Chapter 1. Do you know about storks? To start with, there was Shora. Shora was a fishing village in Holland. It lay on the shore of the North Sea in Friesland, tight against the dike. Maybe that is why they called it Shora. It had some houses and a church and tower. In 5 of those houses lived the 6 school children of Shora. So that is important. There were a few more houses, but in those houses lived no children. Just old people. They were, well, just old people, so they weren't important. There were more children too, but young children, toddlers, not school children, so that is not so important either. The 6 children of Shora all went to the same little school. There was Yella. He was biggest of the 6. He was big and husky for his age. There was Ailka. He was slow and clumsy, except his mind. His mind was swift. There was Auka, and right here at the beginning, there's nothing much to say about Auka. He was just a nice, everyday boy. You could have fun with him. There were Pier and Dirk. They were brothers. Pier and Dirk looked about as much alike as second cousins, but Pier liked what Dirk liked, and Dirk did what Pier did. They liked to be together. They were twins. Then there was Lena. She was the only girl in the little Shora school. 1 girl with 5 boys. Of course, there was also a teacher, a man teacher. Maybe to begin with, we really should have started with Lena. Not because she was the only schoolgirl in Shora, but because she wrote a story about storks. There were no storks in Shora. Lena had written this story about storks of her own accord. The teacher hadn't asked her to write it. In fact, until Lena read it out loud to the 5 boys and the teacher, nobody in school had even thought about storks. But there one day, right in the middle of the arithmetic lesson, Lena raised her hand and asked, "Teacher, may I read a little story about storks? I wrote it all by myself, and it's about storks." Lena called it a story, but it was really an essay, a composition. The teacher was so pleased that Lena had written a little piece of her own accord, he stopped the arithmetic lesson right there and let Lena read her story. She began with the title and read on. Do you know about storks? Do you know about storks? Storks on your roof bring all kinds of good luck. I know this about storks. They are big and white and have long yellow bills and tall yellow legs. They build great big messy nests, sometimes right on your roof. But when they build a nest on the roof of a house, they bring good luck to that house and to the whole village that house stands in. Storks do not sing. They make a noise like you do when you clap your hands when you feel happy and good. I think storks clap their bills to make the happy sounds when they feel happy and good. They clap their bills almost all the time, except when they are in the marshes and ditches hunting for frogs and little fishes and things. Then they are quiet. But on your roof they are noisy. But it is a happy noise, and I like happy noises. This is all I know about storks. But my aunt in the village of Ness knows a lot about storks because every year 2 big storks come to build their nest right on her roof. But I do not know much about storks, because storks never come to Shora. They go to all the villages around, but they never come to Shora. That is the most that I know about storks, but if they came to Shora, I would know more about storks. After Lena had finished reading her story, the room was quiet. The teacher stood there looking proud and pleased. Then he said, "That was a fine story, Lena, a very fine composition. And you know quite a lot about storks." His eyes were pleased and bright. He turned to Big Yella. "Yella," he said, "what do you know about storks?" "About storks, teacher?" Yella said slowly. "About storks? Nothing." He looked surly and stubborn because he felt stupid. He thought he ought to explain. "You see," he told the teacher, "I can't bring him down with my slingshot. I've tried and tried, but I just can't seem to do it." The teacher looked startled. "But why would you want to shoot them down?" "Oh, I don't know," Yella said. He wriggled a little in his seat. He looked unhappy. "Because they move, I guess." "Oh," the teacher said. "Pierre," he said then. "Dirk, what do you twins know about storks?" "About storks?" Pierre asked. "Nothing." "Dirk," teacher said. "Just the same as Pierre," Dirk said. "Nothing." "Pierre," the teacher said, "if I had asked Dirk first, what would have been your answer?" "Same as Dirk's," Pierre answered promptly. "Teacher, that's the trouble with being twins. If you don't know something, you don't know it double." The teacher in the room liked that. It made everybody laugh. "Well, Alka," the teacher said, "how about you?" Alka was still chuckling and feeling good about what Pierre had said, but now he looked serious. "All I know is that if storks make happy noises with their bills, like Lena said in her story, then I would like storks too." The teacher looked around and said, "Well, Alka, there in the corner, that leaves only you." Alka thought a while. "I'm like Lena, teacher. I know little about storks. But if storks would come to Shora, then I think I would learn to know a lot about storks." "Yes, that is true," the teacher said. "But now, what do you think would happen if we all began to think a lot about storks? School's almost out for today, but if from now until tomorrow morning, when you come back to school, you thought and thought about storks, do you think things would begin to happen?" They all sat still and thought that over. Alka raised his hand. "But I'm afraid I can't think much about storks when I don't know much about storks. I'd be through in a minute." Everybody laughed, but the teacher's eyes weren't pleased. "True, true," he said. "That's right, Alka. We can't think much when we don't know much. But we can wonder. From now until tomorrow morning, when you come to school again, will you do that? Will you wonder why and wonder why? Will you wonder why storks don't come to Shora to build their nests on the roofs the way they do in all the villages around? For sometimes, when we wonder, we can make things begin to happen. If you'll do that, then school is out right now."